What's up, YouTube? My name is Austin.
I'm Jenny.
And we are Bumpin' Bus. This is our first YouTube video that we're going to be making. We've been pretty big on doing Instagram and stuff, but never YouTube. So we're going to walk you guys through how we did our paint for the bus. The things not to do, things that we messed up on, things that we wish we could do differently, and then the things that we did right. So we'll preface the whole thing with spray your bus. I'll say that. Just spray the bus. We were hard-headed and we decided that we would roll the bus, and though it's doable, it sucks because you just have to, at least with the paint that we use, there's so many layers that need to go onto it in order to hide the primer, not to mention having to roll on all the primer, and then the cost of all the brushes and rollers and pans and everything else that we've had to get. I would imagine it would add up to us of just getting a sprayer and finding a spot to spray the bus. So that's our number one thing that, looking back, we probably should just spray the thing.
The reason why we didn't want to spray it was because we live near other houses, so we were afraid that we were gonna get spray on their houses too. But if you could just find an open field or anywhere to spray the bus, I would definitely recommend spraying it. It would take up a lot less time and effort.
So these are just a few of the things that we needed for the prep work on the bus. We got 120 grit sandpaper that will be used with the palm sander. We have the oscillating tool with this flat blade attachment. It's really helpful for getting off all of the reflectives. We got mask, acetone. So once we do all the sanding and all the prep work, we're gonna wash it down and then we're gonna wipe it down with the acetone to prep for paint. We got these rubber wheels that are really good for taking off all the sticker residue, especially all the little black labels, right there. I can okay. These, don't get these. I don't even know why we have them sitting here, but these are too coarse. So it's these rubber oscillating tool things. We bought these originally, but they just take it down to metal. And we're trying to avoid that because we want to just paint over the paint that we already have. And then we have these 180 grit just hand sheets, and that's just for those rub rails on the bus for all those little ridges and stuff that we have to get into. It's going to be too tight for the palm sander to get into. I would recommend getting the wheel one, but we already had this one, so we're just going to roll with that.
If you're going to roll the bus, you will start by getting all your prep work done. And if you haven't started anything on the bus, we were already about halfway done because we had to do our roof, and we had to do all the stickers on the back and the front because we were going to be siliconing over them. But if you're just getting started, you'll have all these stickers to remove, all kinds of little template things, like I said, Bluebird handicap bus or whatever on the side, window decals, all that good stuff. So to start by doing that, we used an oscillating tool with a flat blade attachment. It's just a thin aluminum piece of metal thing, and that scrapes them right off, but then you're gonna have a residue. This is mostly for the reflector strips. For the actual stickers, use the Wonder Wheel, I think is what it's called.
Yeah,
the Wonder Wheel.
So to get all these decals all over the bus off, especially these little black sticker ones, we're just using these rubber wheels that plug right into the drill. We got them on Amazon. I don't remember exactly what they're called, but I'll find them and link them. They're not too expensive, but they work really well for these.
Get a bunch of them though, because they go quickly and they'll just eat away as you're doing these stickers. You might get through 2 big decals per wheel and then it's time to swap out. So they're really good, they work really well, they attach right into your drill, and then you just spin the stickers right off. To get rid of all the excess sticky residue, we just went back over everything with sandpaper, anything that didn't come off with the sandpaper. We took Goo Gone and let it soak on there for a while and got that off. But as far as all the big pieces, you'll use the oscillating tool as well as that wheel tool.
So after we removed all the residue and reflector tape off the bus, we started sanding the whole thing.
Oh yeah. No more yellow. Well, it's still yellow.
We had a mouse sander, which we got a 220 sandpaper for that. and we sanded all the flat surfaces on the bus, the whole entire bus with that. But then we also have a lot of ridges in our bus, and we can't get in there with the sander that we have, so we had to use hand sander for that. I think we got 180 for that. And then we sanded all the ridges, the whole entire bus. We got everything, all the residue off that. So when you're sanding the bus, we didn't want to sand down a straight bare metal. We're just trying to sand and scuff up the paint that was previously there, just so that way the primer would adhere to it better.
We've got most of the sanding done on this side. We're just trying to scuff up the paint
Get off all the caulking.
and get off all the caulking.
Bring a little drop.
But it's looking pretty good so far. Well, it actually looks kind of ugly, but it'll look pretty one day. These are all the sanding pads that we've gone through. All of these. There's so many. And there's Darby. Lucy! There's Lucy. Hi!
So after you sand the bus down to that rough sort of surface, really it's like a smooth surface if you feel it, but you're putting little tiny scratches all throughout the metal, and that's what's going to allow that paint to really stick to it. You want to go over the bus. We used a pressure washer that we just rented from Home Depot, but if you have anything like that, I mean, maybe even just good pressure on your water hose, which we didn't have. Just spray the bus down really good, get all that excess paint dust that you've been throwing up all over the rest of the body of the bus. You want to get all that washed down until there's nothing else in there. And then also with the rails, a lot of dirt and gunk and stuff is stuck up in between those rails. So a pressure washer will help you wash all that out. I had to go over it like 3 times on the whole bus to get the majority of it, and I don't even know if we still did, but whatever, it worked out pretty good. After that, you're gonna go back over it after it's dried and wipe it down with acetone.
So this is just from acetoning the bus. We pressure washed it, we washed it. We actually had a heavy rainstorm happen too, so I know it took off all the paint and dust that we left, but as you can tell, the acetone is bringing up all that extra grime. So don't forget the acetone.
After that, you need to start taping. Tape everything and anything that you do not want to get touched by paint. And I recommend taping off, like if you're gonna tape off your light, tape off the whole light, because it'll just make it easier on you when you're actually doing the rolling process and stuff. You're not worried about bumping into anything. You can just roll right over it and hit the tape. It doesn't matter. The next step is priming the bus. So we used a Sherwin-Williams, was it oil-based enamel
Oil-based
primer?
enamel.
We'll have to get you the actual name and we'll put it in the description. But basically it's just this gray, really thick feeling primer.
All right, so we're not finished taping just yet, but this side of the bus is pretty much all taped up. And we're running out of daylight. So we just decided while we have the warm weather and it's still daytime, she'll go ahead and start priming the side, and I'm gonna finish up taping the other side in the back with all the lights. So.
So the hardest part of painting the bus was all these ridges we have. We have so many of them. Because you can't really roll in there with a roller, so we have to get in there with a paintbrush. And on the other side, it kind of looks really clumpy because the paint was drying faster than I was putting it down.
We're on the easy part now.
So as you can see, this side of the bus is mostly primed. We're just doing the little cracks and crevices now. And then we've got the back done for the most part. And then this side's almost done.
after you are done taping, you've primed your bus and everything, you should be ready for paint. As long as the weather is good and everything, over the next couple of days it's not gonna rain, or if it's too windy, if you're spraying, you can go ahead and paint. Get your colors right and test them on the bus before you just start going crazy with it. I mean, you can always paint over what you do, but we actually had 2 different colors. One was like Rejuvenate, and then we had like Ember Glow, and it was going to be one slightly darker reddish orange and then a lighter orange on top, and we were going to do a 2-tone, and it ended up being like one of them was super pink colored. Like it was almost like salmon colored. And so the Ember Glow, which was the lighter orange, actually looked really good. So we ended up just deciding we're gonna paint the whole bus with that one. And
the color that you think is gonna come out, it's not gonna come out like that. Like, we were looking at the card in Sherwin-Williams, and it just does not look the same on the bus. It kind of looks a lot more brighter on the bus. So, I mean, we're not gonna repaint it. We're just gonna deal with it.
So this is what the bus looks like right now. Yesterday we were priming and we didn't really like how the primer was coming out, because when we were brushing the rails right there, it was coming up really clumpy. So we were debating on just re-sanding the whole bus and then priming it again. So we wanted to see what the top coat looks like, so we just started the top coat. And I think the top coat is looking good, but we're definitely gonna have to do 2 coats, because 1 coat you can still see the primer through. But we're still painting. Hopefully we'll get most of the primer gone today.
So if you guys have any questions or need help with the painting process, just feel free to ask us questions. And you can follow our Instagram at Bump and Bus.